Today is Wednesday, May 22nd, 2024. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm JaeAnn.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor 46's finale.
This episode is titled Friends Going to War. That was spoken by our
Charlie,
primary narrator of the season, Charlie. Yes. Probe started off talking about all the historic records that have been broken this season. 6 straight blindsides in a row, 4 with idols in their pocket in a row, all that. And kicked it off with the quick recap. Q finds an idol. Maria and Charlie target each other. Maria wins individual immunity, and then Charlie starts the big target on Q and hints Maria. And Maria tells us that she wants a hug from Charlie as she votes him out at tribal council.
She adores him, but he's in her way.
Yes.
And Charlie says, well, he adores her too, but, he may have to vote her out.
And Q's gone with an idol. And Maria's stunned. Ooh, the way this started off. Okay, we're back at camp. Nui night 23 after that tribal council. Maria says, Charlie, can we talk? Let's go down to the water and talk. And she tells us that she got to do some damage control.
She thinks she's in big trouble.
I messed up. Yes.
Everyone was
whose
really
fault was it really? Turns out, according to Maria,
it wasn't her fault.
No, Q did it. He did
You did it, and the others, because they all said Charlie would be. Yeah, it wasn't her. She just got caught up and went along with the others.
That group of 3 up there is out to get us, Charlie.
Yeah.
Charlie
she flat out lied to him.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That was my takeaway.
My perspective on her continued to spiral down. It all started with that goof in the reward challenge choice and taking Q to Applebee's. Hey, speaking of Applebee's, what did you think of our pre-finale dinner? I forgot to mention it at the top.
I actually enjoyed it, and I won't say it's the best food I've ever had, but it wasn't the worst either.
No.
And I enjoyed the things I chose to eat.
Yeah, it was a pre-finale celebration, so we got the appetizer platter that they had at the sanctuary, and
got everything pretty much.
I couldn't get the shark bowl. They won't. They wouldn't deliver. They won't deliver an alcoholic drink, so I couldn't get a shark bowl.
I'm like, what are you thinking? You don't drink.
I know, but it was in the spirit.
We have a podcast to do.
It was in the spirit of the finale. It was
You're allergic to alcohol. You break out in splotches all over.
Yes. But I was willing to do that for the finale.
You just wanted to see what Liz experiences when she has allergic reactions.
That must be it.
I see.
So we got the appetizer platter. We got, speaking of Liz, we got that Bourbon Street mushroom Swiss burger and some fries. And we got the shrimp and chicken, the Bourbon Street shrimp and chicken with garlic mashed potatoes?
Yeah, I think so.
And what else did we get?
It had mushrooms and onions.
Oh, I had to get the one appetizer. It wasn't on their list.
On their list,
yes.
But it ended up on yours.
Yes.
I didn't care that much
bacon
for it.
Bacon chicken cheese
French fries smothered in bacon and cheese. And did you order some extra chicken on it or something?
No.
There was some chicken on it,
yeah.
too.
Yeah, I didn't order extra chicken. It was just, maybe that was part of it. I don't know.
Oh, maybe, but...
There's another place near us called Kiki's Chicken that does a great version of that kind of thing with fries and chicken.
I don't like stuff smothered in
you don't
everything.
Like the smothered fries.
You do.
Yes,
you like all that. I'm just kind of like, bleh. No, thank you.
And so we got that, and then we got an Oreo milkshake, and then you got
an Oreo milkshake.
Well, this was all we. And then you got a brownie bite, and that ended up being the thing that you liked the most.
I like that the best.
Yeah. Okay, all right, back to our recap.
It had about 2 spoons, little bitty spoons full of ice cream.
It was fun to have a little bit of it. I'm the same as you. I don't think I've ever had. I think you had eaten at Applebee's before, but I don't think I had.
But it's been a long, long time.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it.
It was fun as part of our finale celebration.
Kind of like going to a smorgasbord.
A little buffet.
We'd come in and we'd fill our plate with a little dab of this, and I'd get a piece of chicken off of this, and a piece of chicken off of that, and this, and try that, and a little bit of the spinach and artichoke dip, and just that could get some celery and.
It just made it fed into the whole event, I guess, is how we put it. Okay, so back to the recap. Charlie handled that with just his general usual grace.
No need to call the party off, he said.
Yeah, he kept all the doors open. It's easy to be bitter, but...
She says she feels terrible, but he says he knows it's completely fake.
Yes.
He says, she totally came for me.
Yes.
It's like, yes, she did.
What the heck, Maria, he said. You faker. And then when they go back up there, they were having a little fun at her expense, weren't they? Liz and Ben at Maria's expense.
Were they?
Well, she was still a little haughty. Hey, you were playing way harder than I thought.
I gave you credit for it.
Yeah.
Ben's like, we could have told you.
But we didn't. That was Ben being sassy, I guess.
Yeah. And Liz talking to Q, or she's being interviewed, but she's like, you got played. Mm-hmm. She's still dwelling on that. She's had to wait for how many tribal councils to actually get him out?
Yeah, it's been several days that she's been through, several tribal councils, yeah. And Maria declares that she has to win. It's an imperative, so she's going to go for it.
And she's not going to go down without fighting, which I never doubted that.
Yeah.
Okay, challenge number 1.
Come right into the Final 5 challenge. Nice. And challenge and reward here on day 24.
Jeff comments that this is a fierce-looking Final 5.
Well, he also said no one predicted this group either, which you're right. It was a bit of an oddball group for sure.
And as she gives the necklace back, she tells Probst, I got one more in me.
Mm-hmm. One more win.
All right, they got to pull down a rope. They got to go through a bunch of rope and pull down a rope bridge and do a rope
but
thing
it starts,
all through the...
we can't skip the start, though, because Charlie had a bit of a goof there. So they got a mud net crawl at the beginning. And as they get through the mud net crawl, which is the only reason it's there, the only reason they trucked that mud in, they brought it in on boats and built the little mud pits for them to crawl all over them. Yeah,
and
but this time
everything harder.
They gave them a bucket of water so that they could wash some of the mud off because they knew they were going to need to see what they were doing to get through the obstacles coming up. Charlie promptly gets through, picks up the bucket, and smacks himself in the head with it.
Well, when you got mud over your eyes and you can't see, it's probably pretty easy to do.
Yeah. Okay, and so then they had to pull a rope out of a plank. So they got a rope woven through what turned out to be 35 holes in a plank.
Who knew that would come back
would be important
into the game?
Yeah. And then once they got that and they were able to release the plank and move through that obstacle, they had to go through big rope, what would you call that, a rope maze obstacle where they got a bunch of ropes tied on the diagonals and everything. So you got to work your way through that. And then what was it? They had to
throw a rope and catch
a monkey fist, classic monkey fist on a lever.
The bridge.
Yeah, so you got to hook a lever with a monkey fist, which is just a round ball of the rope itself tied on the end of the rope.
And then they got to go up, climb up, and start the puzzle, finish it.
Maria and Charlie were like neck and neck there. Maria got through first, but Charlie was hot on her heels. And they had to get a key, and the key would unlock the puzzle pieces that were up at the top on the platform. But this one had a twist. They had to solve the puzzle, and then the puzzle gave them the
you had to
details.
Read it.
So you had to read the details on the puzzle once you assembled it to figure out what the numbers were to put into the combination lock.
Yes.
And the big giant combination lock was the thing at the end.
And why they had to run around and hit the gong, I don't know.
Just for drama.
Usually it's a flag or something.
Yeah.
But okay, fine.
Yeah.
A gong works.
Sure. What did you think about Liz's choice?
Fabulous.
We thought that might happen. We talked about this, and I can't remember if it was a recap or listener feedback, that they might join up just to beat Maria.
To make sure anything
somebody
not
beats
to let
Maria.
her get there.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure.
Liz gets part of the way into hers, and Kinsey is very close, but Kinsey assembles the puzzle.
Yeah.
And then she like panicked. It was almost like she couldn't read it, or she didn't know what to do.
Well, she didn't know where the plank was. She
Yeah.
went,
So
what plank? What are we talking about?
Blew right by it. There were a bunch of
What?
planks,
You know,
right?
Yeah. So,
The
but
plank with the
Liz
holes in
is
it.
the one that figured that out and just took off.
Yeah. So
I don't think she even told Kinsey. She
And
just took off.
Probst, no, she didn't. And Probst tells him, look, you have to go back through those obstacles each way to go back and get that thing. Mm-hmm. So you got to work your way backwards through each one. And
So Kinsey kept, looking at it and trying to work things out.
part
in
was you
mind
had
while-
to count the geckos, and another was that you had to know how many holes were in that plank. And I don't know what the third one is, because there's 3 numbers for that combination.
okay.
I didn't mark that down. I didn't get a look at it. Anyway,
But, long story short, and Maria almost got back and
With her
beat
plank.
them anyway.
yeah, she was closing in on them.
She was.
But Liz first counted the holes wrong. The first count she gave
Yeah.
was 34, didn't work, so she recounted and got 35, and then the lock opened up and Kinsey was able to win the challenge. Charlie was never really in that.
No, he wasn't. He is
And that
not
was-
good at puzzles.
There was a theme. Well, he's just been dragging, I think, here towards the end. I mean, there are obvious reasons for that, with the lack of
Yeah.
nutrition and
Well, the
things
lack
like
of
that.
sleep, we saw it wasn't just Kinsey getting up with
Ben, yeah.
Ben at night. It was Charlie too,
Mm-hmm.
and that doesn't just affect Ben's rest; it affects theirs too.
Everyone, that
Yeah.
he wakes up.
And even if they're just concerned about him, it's hard to go back to sleep or go into a good rest. So that was hard on everyone around.
How did you think Maria handled that? That's rough when they're teaming up against you.
Yeah.
On top of everything else.
Well, I'm sure she didn't like it, but
Liz was quick to say, well, it takes 2 to beat you, Maria, and Kinsey jumped in too. In between saying, I can taste it. I can taste the end.
all right, but she does indeed win with Liz's help.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, I thought, well, she'll take Liz now since she helped her win. But when she offered it, Liz said, no, I'm allergic to pasta. Take Ben.
Yeah, Charlie and Liz both said take Ben. He hasn't been to the sanctuary. So there they go. Kinsey and Ben head off
Which
to
was
the
generous
sanctuary.
when you're starving. And so that was pretty cool. And I thought, oh, but should she leave Maria and Charlie there for Maria to work on Charlie? Wasn't sure how that
Or
would
find
go.
an idol.
Yes, that was my other concern. And I was surprised we didn't see more looking for the idol, because I was just sure they'd plan another one.
Seemed likely, given
Yeah.
the goofs, that it would be interesting to see someone goof it again.
Yep, I didn't think they would goof it this time.
They
I didn't the other 4
You wouldn't
times
think so,
either.
but this is a unique group of people.
Yes, okay.
Okay, cut to the sanctuary, and Kinsey said, I can't believe I won.
And she didn't really care who won as long as Maria didn't.
Yeah, but I don't know, Kinsey, you didn't win on your own, but yes, I get it. She can't believe she's the winner.
Yep,
She did not do it alone.
that's true. And she's there with her bestie. And Ben's decided he's going to go home and get a driver's license.
I like
now,
how
he's
she
in
said,
his 30s.
yeah,
or
I think so,
something.
living with his parents, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many more people nowadays that don't get licenses. We couldn't. I went on the day I turned 16.
Sure, and then you get your learners before that. and-
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'd been driving since I was 10.
So he's got a big life goal.
Country and all.
He gets home, he's going to get a driver's license. And what was it? Kinsey said, yeah, that's good. You can do
You
some
can-
adult things.
Yes, learn to be an adult now.
Yeah.
Maybe even think about your own apartment.
And they called Maria the enemy.
And unless she finds an idol or there's some kind of blindside, she is gone.
Okay, back to camp.
Charlie said, Liz is here to play.
Yeah, I think Liz impressed him with that move.
She did.
Yeah.
I thought she was impressive. You know, she has done some good things in the last few weeks. So I don't know if it was the movement that got her moving, but she certainly was playing more aggressive.
Yeah, she was way more engaged, it seemed like. Okay, so Maria's plan is to find an idol. So her and Charlie get going. And she says they need one more person. Never give up. That's her plan.
Well, and here's another thing. You know, Charlie made a plan with Maria after tribal council just so that, you know, even if she did get voted off, maybe she would champion him, which that didn't work. But, and if she didn't leave, then he could still work with her if he needed to. So I really liked it that, again, he kept his options open.
Yeah, and Maria starts with this pitch about how Ben is a big threat.
And how she was never one to give up. I'm not sure why she felt the need to tell them when that this isn't over until you snuff my torch.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, sure, they know she's a fighter, but I would have followed her everywhere just to make sure she wasn't looking for an idol. But anyway.
They weren't buying her Ben is the evil one to look out for pitch. It was actually kind of a weak pitch, too. Well, he might have something. There might be a surprise.
He's not trustworthy. He never has been.
Right.
He wrote your name down. That was not an accident.
Yeah, he's lying if he says that's an accident.
Well, I thought actually though that she did pretty good because she did get in their head.
Well, it got in Liz's head for sure.
Well, it got in Kenzie's too. Kenzie said, "Oh man, she's good." She's making me doubt things. Now they pulled it back together when they got together, but
Part of that was for the tribal council, though, so there'd be a little bit of suspense and drama.
no, I don't think so. I think that was, you know, her really fighting hard, and that they were at least listening and going, "Oh dang, I'm gonna have to stay away from her. She might could convince me."
Yeah, but Kenzie also said that was a foolish pitch on Ben, so she wasn't biting.
It was.
Charlie was a little surprised that Liz was buying into the Ben angle a little bit, though, or at least it seemed like it.
Were you surprised when Charlie said that he thought the jury might see him and Ben as the same?
I guess I hadn't really thought of them as being on equal footing like that. But Charlie's perspective is skewed because they've been together from the beginning.
Well, what did I say when I woke up this morning?
Kenzie's going to win?
No, I said Kenzie could win. And I got up and I thought about it, and I went through the jury. I thought, I need to look at who the jury will vote for. And I did all this stuff, and I went in, and I changed from my winner from Charlie to Mackenzie. And then as the day went on, I thought, I can't do it. I really, even though I believe Kenzie could win, I need to support Charlie. I just really...
Be more fun to support Charlie.
It will be more fun to me. I almost feel guilty. I can't abandon him right now. So I went in and switched it back, knowing that, you know, and I thought, I don't care. I need to do this, and then I felt better about it. So, but I did wake up thinking that this morning. It was so odd. That was in my brain when I woke up.
Well, we had been talking about it. I think that might have had something to do with it.
Well, yeah, but the night before.
Yeah, well, let's not connect those two things. The night before in the morning.
That was a long time the night before.
And you had been asleep.
I had watched the Voice finale.
Okay.
So it wasn't in my head as
Final Five, Tribal Council, Night 24. Tiff and Venus are reacting. Kenzie's got that necklace on. And so Probst recaps and talks about how Liz ended up helping Kenzie. Maria said, no hard feelings. But I don't believe a word of what Maria says anymore. I believe she's definitely got hard feelings. She definitely had her head held high.
Yeah.
Ben tries to assuage things a little bit and tells Maria, the better you are, the bigger the target.
Yeah, but we still have to outwit, outplay, and outlast.
Kinsey gets her compliments in. Maria's incredible. So this is the "You're Awesome, Love You" tour before they boot her out.
Yeah, well, Kinsey just said, "You're amazing, but we have to write your name down tonight. We have to."
Love you.
Yeah. Yeah, and now Liz is the one that I wasn't too sure about her response. They're like two ships passing in the night. They could have been the dynamic duo if they joined together.
But they just got further and further apart.
Weren't able to work together.
Which they didn't really show us that aspect of things. They showed Maria reaching out to Liz to get Liz's help with those blind sides.
And they did work together with a lot of that.
Confusing.
But I don't
Charlie
know.
described his work with Maria in the game as being side by side and that they had developed a sibling rivalry. Maybe that's a good way to look at that.
I thought he was making a pitch to the jury at that point already.
Possibly.
And she talked about growing up in Beirut, and she wanted to show her children that, yes, they had a very strong daddy, but they also had a very strong mommy, too.
Held head high, she said, be an example.
Absolutely.
She wanted to be gracious and show how to win and how to lose.
I don't know why, Kinsey, I think she's still trying to give her something. Take care of her.
Right.
You would wipe the floor with us. We can't take you. And when Charlie voted, he said, to my future nephews, your mom kicks butt. And I thought, I don't know that he'd be feeling that way now so much. Yes, Mom does kick butt. Nobody can take that away from her.
No.
But,
So Maria throws a vote at Ben, and then they vote Maria out.
Yep.
7th member of the jury. Kinsey, Charlie, Ben, and Liz have made Final Four. Maria said that she felt amazing. She was 47, and she still got it.
At my age, my stage of life, I still got it.
And we had her as first to go.
We
Back
did.
when we did the JAVIC, didn't we?
Oh, wait, you didn't.
I think I did. I had her as one of the first out candidates.
Oh, you mean at JAVIC.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I'm not talking about
I was
the
talking
picks
about
for Final
tonight.
Five.
Okay. Yeah, I got...
No, I had
those
Charlie going
mixed.
first, so this is where my picks started to unravel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you still did pretty good. You got the winner.
Mm-hmm.
So, and everybody hugs. So,
yeah.
okay.
Final Four celebration. Woohoo. Charlie says that was a hard tribal.
Very emotional.
Has to keep managing his options if
But
he's going to win.
Couldn't win with Maria in the game. And he knows he's got to win the next day, too, if he has a chance. So.
Yeah, another sequence of Ben's panic attack sort of recapping there.
Yeah, and we get to see that Charlie also gets up with him.
Yeah, so they showed a little more of Charlie helping out than we had seen previously.
And Ben is feeling blessed. He says people show up for him, and he's so very glad to have Kinsey and Charlie.
Yeah. Okay, Tree Mill.
Ben and Charlie go to Tree Mill and reminisce about being the Dumb and Dumber Alliance.
Yeah.
From day one.
So I guess they're not completely inept at alliances. Here's an alliance
That's right.
lasted all the way to day 25, so I should give them more credit. Although, on the whole, this cast did not do alliances. Try to compare them to even last season. They could not manage an alliance well. Yep, Tree Mill. Liz is ecstatic. She is in the Final Four. She demonstrates her overly large wrist ligaments because why wouldn't Liz have one more oddity to share that would hold her back or hinder her game in some way?
Joints pop in and out.
So therefore she's not able to make fire easily.
But she kind of knows she's going to the fire making challenge.
Tells us she could see the win at the end, and I thought, really? That is a little bit of a surprise. I guess I should have seen her coming with that, but I didn't really think that she would believe that. But she clearly did,
She
right?
does.
Yeah,
She
believes she
absolutely
can
did.
win.
Yeah. I wouldn't think so. I guess there's a possibility with that many of her original tribe in the jury, but I don't
just
think
didn't think
so.
a lot of her. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
so
does not seem likely.
That would surprise me. I thought maybe Jeff would ask, but he didn't.
Nah, that might hurt too much. Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's too busy hurting the runner-up.
Oh.
Final Four Challenge, day 25. What did you think of this one? The big pachinko machine that you had to manage for time as you solved a stand-up Survivor logo puzzle?
Yeah, I hate that kind of stuff.
What? Because it causes tension, anxiety?
For me, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do it to have to try to focus on a puzzle and then keep an eye on the disc to see how close it's getting.
I wonder if you couldn't turn around. I guess you couldn't turn around, huh? So you'd be working on the puzzle.
Turn your puzzle around, I doubt that.
Or just walk to the other side of it so you can manage looking up at the pachinko board, and maybe that wasn't an option.
I don't think it was, but anyway.
I would have tried it just in case.
I guess Jeff everybody said, else. If you ask, the answer's no. If you don't ask,
right. But Charlie had some trouble with that.
He has trouble with puzzles. Period. I think I can't remember him doing that well in a puzzle. He
certainly. I mean, he won 2 individual immunity challenges. Definitely celebrate that. But he was running out of gas here at the end. It looked like he couldn't manage that, and then it was stunning to see who was really good at it. What a surprise!
Well, especially since he seemed to be in such a state when he got there.
Right.
But hey,
turns out Ben could win a challenge.
Well, and he wasn't bad at puzzles. We'd seen that before, that he did pretty good on puzzles. I thought he was going to win that.
I thought he was kind of hit or miss.
Dolphin puzzle.
Well, he started out and then he just completely lost it.
Yeah.
That was the thing. You never knew when he was going to fail to finish
accelerate or
or just give up.
Or the wind come out of it. You know?
I like that aspect of it. It was like Prop said, it's a simple puzzle. You've seen it many times. You've been looking at it on your buff all season long in terms of the logo, so you know how it goes together. But adding that extra element of managing the ball coming back down through the big pachinko blocks, and then the extra time penalty if you miss it. And they didn't even account for Kenzie, who would go up there and throw the ball on the other side of the great big pachinko board altogether.
Well, I really expected her to win the puzzle.
I thought she was going to also. That was like her path to glory. And so when Ben won, I was shocked.
Yeah. And then for him to explain, well, but that's kind of like a meditation for me. You know, he just got to doing, it was something fairly repetitive. And so, I don't know, it just clicked for him.
Yeah, so, he said he decided to show up for himself today.
Way to go,
he was
Ben.
In the moment.
All right.
Day 25, and it finally happened. All right.
Better late than never.
Absolutely.
He also is the one that gets to choose everything.
Yeah, he has all the power. And I loved Prope's line here. You found a meditation where the others found chaos.
That
right. Was a good off the top of the head line there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Ben's biggest claim to fame is he didn't quit.
That's right.
Through the whole season.
Back at camp, Kenzie's like, Ben, you rocked it. Mm-hmm. Speaking his language.
Celebrate it. And he does. He goes down to the ocean and he celebrates a little and gives some yells. And I know
he started crying and just didn't seem to stop.
If you rock out, it's going to work out. And then it hit him like a ton of bricks. I have to make some decisions. Yeah. End of celebration. That was it.
I didn't even get chosen as a kid for dodgeball.
Yeah.
And I won. But good on him. He got to have a lot of emotional releases and had to figure it out. But, you know, he was really thinking it through. And even when Charlie asked, if I ask you to take me, will you? And he did not agree to. He said, you know, I haven't thought that through yet.
Liz was the first one to hit him up and ask him what he was thinking. And I was surprised with his response. I guess I shouldn't be, because I keep thinking these people have misread things all through the season. Misreading Liz as this huge threat. He told her, you've played the hardest. You've gone without eating, and
you've outlasted your entire tribe.
And you don't need it because you got money. Ruh-roh, that came back to bite you and your cartoon psychology plan, Liz.
Well, I thought she was the one saying, but I don't need the money. And he's like, yeah, but I can't beat you. So
last
it didn't matter.
That was supposedly made her a threat because she's the last one from her tribe.
He thought he needed the money more than anybody.
And that broke Liz after they finished their conversation.
But
so
she
sent her
started
crying.
practicing fire.
Yep. She says, they're on to me. They know I can win. Okay.
Then he goes over and cries with Kinsey a while. And Kinsey's just the opposite. She wants to do fire. She wants that on her resume. She's already thought it through. She thinks she can beat Liz. She gets more unsure as she practices. But
as she fails to get anything going, it transitions from I think I can beat her to what's wrong with me, which is Kinsey's great line. We've heard that from her multiple times.
Well, and I think Charlie became more insecure while practicing.
Well, they cut to him because there's a bunch of this fire making montage that they always do at this time where they bounce between the different people. He was making fire in the beginning, but then, he struggled some and unnerved himself also.
But Charlie doesn't think he needed that for his resume, but I do think it hurt him. They did seem to well, why didn't you want to make the fire?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that can always be used against you.
And you don't know.
Do you have
how
a good
it's
answer?
go, though.
Yeah.
So
I'm solid with fire, but it's flaky or fluky. I forget what he said there, but that was essentially, he knew that there is some randomness there. You never quite know how that's going to go.
But then they flip back to Liz. She gets fire, so she's feeling more confident.
Mm-hmm. Roller coaster of emotion, and she's got fire, and she's struggling. And now Kinsey's struggling.
Yeah, she knows she can do it, but she's not too confident.
They worked that pattern into the audio, the scrape, scrape sound. Scrape, 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 scrape. They were doing a beat in the background.
And then Ben's crying again while he tells us that. But Charlie's been his number one since day one, and he loves that kid. But Kinsey's been his number one friend, helping him with his panic attacks, and she's just so sweet. So it was a big dilemma for him. Mm-hmm. I would hate that part myself.
Tribal Council, night 25, final four. Who's Ben going to choose? Probst tells the jury Ben's the only one with no mistakes during the challenge. Ben said, I was barely sleeping. These panic attacks are coming after me, and somehow I was able to pull it together.
Yep, okay. And he chooses Liz versus Kinsey.
Mm-hmm. What'd you think about that?
It was what I expected.
Yeah.
If for no other reason than Kinsey was willing to do it no problem, and Charlie didn't want to. So that made that part easier for him. So off they go to fire challenge.
Kinsey versus Liz.
Liz gets a flame really quickly, but you could tell it wasn't going to last because she didn't have any base.
No foundation for an ember to really catch.
I mean, that stuff burns out in seconds.
Kinsey was panicking, though. She lost her composure right out of the gate. She had to take a minute at one point and get it back.
Yeah, and she was doing all the things. She was making a base. She was, and she was getting all her stuff ready to feed it. Because when you got to feed it, you got to do it quickly. You can't mess around or that will go out.
Right, got to have fuel and oxygen
Liz's
ready.
Did, so.
Yeah, you got to have the small tinder ready to go.
But it would freak you out, even though Liz didn't have a good solid fire, just to see her getting fire and you weren't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially
knowing that your game was riding.
When you've seen it, when you've seen Heidi and Gabler break records, Heidi, what did she have it in? It was like just a little over 3 minutes. She had won the fire making challenge, beating Gabler's, who had broke the previous record, beat him by over a minute. So when you see it come up like that,
well, as soon as she really got it going, you're like, nah, she's got this, no question.
Right.
Because she did get a better base, and I think it was a little iffy there for a little bit, but it was almost as though Probst was trying to help her, like, if she doesn't smother it, if she doesn't smother it.
Yeah, Liz responded to Charlie at one point because Charlie said, add small sticks. He was talking to Kinsey. Make sure to, and so Liz said, she knows that. She didn't want Charlie helping Kinsey.
He should have said, but I was talking to both of you.
So Kinsey wins. She is now in the final three with Ben and Charlie. And when Kinsey was doing hugs, when Liz was hugging, she was giving some eye roll action there. Did you see that? I think she was done with it all at that point.
Well, like she said, she'd struggled since JaeAnn, and
Kinsey.
she got there and she earned it.
Yeah.
I think she was. My first thought after that was she's already
talking to the
playing
jury.
to the jury.
Yeah, Kinsey was-
she's totally talking
Yeah,
to the jury.
especially when she said she was grateful and that she earned it.
Yep,
She redeemed herself today.
Earned it.
Redeemed all the Yanu issues they had with fire.
And then Liz tells them about how much you learn about yourself out there. And it was over for all you guys. I would have beat all of you.
The jury reacted to that, though.
They totally reacted to that.
They weren't having what Liz was saying there at all.
I really think I would have won. But so did they. So,
Yeah. Well, on the way out, when they gave her the love you, she said, I'll love you tomorrow.
yeah.
That was good.
I liked that, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, that's an honest feeling. I don't feel very loving right now,
Yeah.
huh?
Maybe
I'll
tomorrow.
love you tomorrow.
Yeah. Nui Nui got that last sunrise on day 26.
And food. Breakfast arrived on a boat. That's probably what they were sitting out there waiting for.
Yep, Charlie talks about how listening has been so important to his game, and getting to hear everybody's story has changed his perspective on life. But it's a scary turn in the game now because all the power goes to the jury.
I think it's always a little bit iffy when people start talking about, like Ben did, that he played a game of honesty.
That's a huge red flag to me every time we hear somebody say that. That one's so hard to defend.
Yes, and it seems to make people want to attack you.
Yeah.
And pull out all the times that
'Cause
they didn't think you were honest.
Right.
Or you lied
You're just
about
asking
this.
for someone to come at you with
Exactly.
the deception hammer.
It's like a red flag to a bull.
We get to see him enjoying that final 3 breakfasts. That's awesome. We get some narration from Tevin. And then after Ben talks about playing the honest game, then we get to hear some of the jury talking about Ben. Q said he played a great under the radar game. Soda talked about how big of a social threat he was and the way his emotional game worked to his advantage. That was an interesting twist. I'd never thought much of Ben's game. So that was... He did leverage that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I was surprised a little bit about, Kinsey saying that her story was better than Charlie and Ben's. She just had to sell it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure she sold it as well as she could have.
Well, she definitely got some help, too.
Yeah.
But we'll get there in just a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, Venus comments on how impressed she is with Kenzie's moves and the plays that she made. And, of course, Tiffany comes to Kenzie's defense. And it was really about Kenzie cares. And so Kenzie used her ability to care for others as an advantage. And that's the social element that's so powerful.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
We see both Kenzie and Charlie practicing their speech and modifying it and tuning it as they're sitting off by themselves after they had their breakfast.
They did, and it made me feel a little better about the tribal but they didn't seem to be able to do it in front of the jury as much, and I'm sure that is way more intimidating.
Maria offered a little bit of a preview of how she was thinking about the game when she got to comment on Charlie, and she said, well, it's not about friendship, it's who earned it. Mm-hmm. Who connected the dots? What did you do? That's what she's looking at.
Wants to know, what did you do?
Final tribal council, night 26. The power shifts to the jury. Probst tells them, the final 3, that they have to claim their victory. What did you think about the questions overall?
I actually liked the questions, and I thought they were done respectfully.
They did put some thought into it seemed like.
Yeah. Even to the point of not letting them get carried away with their answers.
Tiff
putting
wasn't
a
having
time
it
limit.
right out of the gate, right? Listen. Don't be quoting song lyrics.
Yep.
Don't be glib.
I don't want to hear about this, and I
Right.
don't want to hear about that.
Now tell me about a move that you made that changed the game.
Yeah, she was very direct, and They did not have to guess what she wanted, which I think is good.
Yeah, I guess Ben did okay with that. He talked about going to Kenzie, Charlie, and Liz and pulling together that alliance that they used at the end.
And
because
relying on his social game.
that's when he finally, I guess, had more agency in the game, was towards the end.
I didn't think the jury responded well to it at all, though.
And Charlie jumped on that, too. Talked about how he leveraged that to go after Q and Maria and how he planned it so that they would have that for.
And then he talked about the Hunter vote, and he got it in there that when Kenzie was planning to vote off Tiffany, that
I targeted Hunter.
So
yeah.
he was telling Tiffany she was planning to vote you off.
And he reminded him that he beat Hunter in individual immunity.
Yeah.
Well, Hunter didn't let that slide, though. He said,
No,
well, you know,
he
it was
didn't.
actually Kenzie that convinced me not to play my idol.
Yeah, that kind of backfired.
Yeah, it did.
And it was. I mean, yeah, Charlie wasn't privy to that, but it totally was Kenzie.
This next part with Kenzie, where she's talked, her answer for Tiffany was the whole Tim or Ben vote, and she ends up arguing with Q. That seemed like it did not go well to me.
Yeah. Well, it didn't, but though I thought she got a little bit of her own back by saying, well, how can you do anything when the person doesn't even remember what they said to you?
That's true. She did claw a little bit of it back.
Yes.
Even though Q had
Because
derailed her to
Everyone felt that, I'm sure, with Q
Yeah.
at some point. So that would have rang true with other people. And Tiffany was backing her up with some of that. So I don't think it hurt her too badly. But
Venus's question ended up tripped up Charlie.
okay.
Unfortunately, for Charlie. Charlie tried to make his answer be about when Q brought him into the final six. Maria corrected and said, well, actually, I invited you. I don't know why, because the way they showed us, Q did and Maria did.
Well,
she
but
delivered the final letter or something.
Maria didn't bring him in my opinion. Maria
Q and Hunter did
recommended him
Right.
as a replacement.
Oh, that's what he said, right? Recommendation letter.
Yes, that's what he pointed out. She wrote me a recommendation letter.
Hunter cracked.
But Q brought him in.
Hunter cracked everyone up when he said, "Look, being in the six, it wasn't a good thing, man. That wasn't your best choice."
We don't want to talk about six. That was just vote out.
And Kenzie's answer for when she was able to turn around something that a goof that she made in the game was she referenced how she had gotten cocky and she ended up losing Tiffany, and then she had to rebuild her game from scratch from there. So that was a good one. I think she did a good account. She gave a good answer for Venus in that one.
Well, when Ben was trying to explain and Tevin asked him, well, were you even listening in tribal council?
How did you end up voting for Kenzie? Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that go so wrong? Yeah, Ben tried to say it was the panic attacks and everything else. Hunter kind of came to his defense a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he tried to go, look,
Yeah.
just smooth it over because, I mean, they're not there to persecute Ben for his problems. And so, you don't want to cross over into that
Yeah.
of making him bad or wrong because he has issues.
So for Tevin's question, he wanted the best example of how they had used a member of the jury to further their own game.
Yes. And that was a good question.
Ben talked about how he was treated by Q and Maria and how he had to basically bide his time until he could flip the script on them.
Yeah, and he used his chill approach to slip through the cracks.
Yeah.
And I think he did do that.
He owned being a goat there too, which was good.
Yes,
I thought
yes,
that's how
I thought
you
so,
want to hit
too.
that stuff head on when you know you weren't a strategic mastermind.
Yes, and I think he did that.
I liked Kenzie's. She talked about having to work with Q again. How things just went wrong on her, and then she ended up having to work with him again until she could get rid of him.
But that she was able to, go from this emotion to that emotion and then sort it out so that she could work with him.
Right, and use him.
And bide her time. And Liz did that too.
Yeah. Charlie really, I thought he nailed it for Tevin because he described it was like watching Todd back in China. So he ends up, he said that he observed that Soda had said she was tight with Tevin, and Tevin had said he was wanting to vote Soda out, and so he recognized Tevin as the power player, and Tevin hearing that he was the power player.
Tevin was like,
needed to be targeted.
Yep, I was.
I was, yeah.
Okay.
So he really nailed that for Tevin.
Got my question answered, you betcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could see when they liked the answer. Yeah.
Hunter wanted to know from Kinsey and Charlie how they would have handled the fire if they had won the Final Four immunity and they had to pick who would make fire. Kinsey said same choice because the guys have the same game and I wanted to be there, and the fire making was good for her.
And she was throwing in a little, making a point there herself about the boys. And she played a different game. Theirs was the same.
Yeah, Hunter I don't know that he didn't seem satisfied with Charlie's answer, that Charlie said he would have taken Liz and had Kinsey and Ben make fire. I think that's what he said. And Hunter wanted to know, well, would you have pushed to make fire? I think Q wanted to know that too. Why? And so Charlie said he didn't feel like he needed to. And I think they wanted him to be more visible. That was a case where they would have respected it more if he had, potentially.
If he had been more visible.
Yeah,
and I think that might have been the key factor for Kinsey. She put herself out there, whether she really wanted to or not.
Well, she didn't necessarily put herself out. Ben put her in that position. She made the most of it, for sure.
And then Soda, after Kinsey said that, Soda had said, well, I've been on the jury the longest, and Kinsey was brought into the votes. And post-merge, we just told her who to vote for, and she voted.
Yeah, what did she say about Ben? He was kind of emotional the whole time, and they weren't sure what else there was to his game. She even said, she basically gave characterizations of each one. Ben, you're emotional, and your game had no agency. Charlie, you were in the middle, and you were basically playing with Maria, and Kinsey.
But not standing out.
Kinsey post-merge was just tell me who to vote for. And then she said, basically, give me your version of this. Am I wrong? Am I right? I liked Kinsey's answer.
Yeah, I did too. That was her social game. It was her strategy.
Her strategic game was her social game, and she said, look, I ended up holding half of you while you were crying. That was all part of, I wanted to be there for you, and that gave me opportunities. But
she also acknowledged that, and I did get brought along, and I'll own it. So they were also looking for that kind of thing. They wanted people to own what they did do.
Mm-hmm. I liked Ben's answer, too. He said, yeah, I cried probably more than anyone, and the way it turned out, that his plans got wrecked. He lost Tim, and his game got turned on its head. But that emotion and him sharing his emotional journey opened doors for him, and that kept him in the game. Too. Yeah, that was an interesting take on it. I appreciated his thoughtful look at it, even if it didn't end up, measuring up against the other two very well.
Well, and Charlie talked about when he saw that Maria and Q were in a tight alliance.
And coming for him. Drawing back to hit him, he said, right?
He said, I already had my people in place to protect me.
Yes.
So that when they...
beat you to the punch.
That's right. When they made their punch, he was protected. And it worked.
Q went with the classic question. I don't believe we've seen it in quite a while. What are you going to do with the money, basically? How's that going to change her? Change your life. So I like Ben's. He said he really needed to give back to his parents because they'd given so much to him. He wanted to help them with their retirement, and he had an organization that he was working with, Young Musicians Unite, which sounded awesome. Sounded like a great project to help with. Charlie's kind of came off the weakest.
I thought
of the three, unfortunately.
I think he should have talked more about... I don't know, just more. And that, talking about, and I have debt from school and this and that.
Yeah, it's not insignificant.
Yes, he's a lawyer, right?
Yeah, working on immigration law.
And people tend to think, lawyers got to make enough money, blah, blah.
They'll eventually make enough, but they don't come out of school that way.
Yeah, they don't come out of school that way. They got big debt sometimes.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Sometimes, yeah. And and he's 25. And is he married, or is that
No, that was his girlfriend that he got the letter from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, but he's a young man. He's about marrying age, so he might want to start a family too. So, I think he could have said more and been more emotional with it because I think Kenzie's answer came over way better with the jury.
Yeah, he could have. If you look at who's in a position, whose answers in a position have the greatest impact, Ben's, that young musicians unite, that could have huge impact just over, just in terms of volume of people. Kenzie's, in terms of volume of impact of people, if you're using that as a measure, not so much, because it was really about her, and she was clear about that, and she said she was being selfish for once in her life. So
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
to
they
set her up so she could
respected
have a family. Yeah, and the way she delivered the message, it seemed like it was received well.
Yeah, I thought so too. This is about me for the first time in my life, and I'm not going to say it isn't.
If Charlie could have sort of refactored his answer into having the impact version of things, I think he could have told a better story, but that's so hard to do in the moment.
And I thought he was more cautious and unsure what to say and how to say it. And it can't, because I think
it came off as too generic.
No, he got asked second, but I don't think he responded as quickly and in the way he really wanted.
It's really hard to know what you would do with that kind of money anyway.
And he was probably in his head too much.
I loved that Probst gave him that opportunity to even if it was only 30 seconds, in a nod to Tiffany's time limit on questions, to just add some stuff, anything else they wanted to clarify. And Charlie really nailed it with his approach to the game. Never close the door.
That. Yeah.
His strategy was always being able to adapt.
And leave your options open, stay as safe as you can, and gather as much power as you can in the game.
And Kenzie's was, I went on every reward.
Because I'm a social butterfly.
Yeah, that one didn't come across well to me.
That didn't to me, but I don't know if it mattered by then. It was an honest response.
Yeah, it was a demonstration of her social agency, I guess. And Ben hit him with one last, you all rock. So he talked about having to deal with all the night terrors, lack of sleep,
the
emotional roller coaster, and how he climbed back up and was able to play from going through that.
But he played the game he wanted to, and he was okay with that.
Time to vote.
He'd already seen the writing on the wall.
Yeah, it did seem like it at that point, because he said...
And I think Charlie...
he essentially said it doesn't measure up to these other two, but...
Yeah, I think Charlie thought that he and Kenzie were very, very close, too. So, which they were.
Yep. So we see Soda and Hunter casting votes for Charlie as they're voting, and we see Q and Tiffany. I'm not surprised with Tiffany. I wasn't sure with Q because he was arguing with her, but he ends up casting his vote for Kenzie to win. So we got two...
Well, she was Janu,
two. And he made a point of writing that on his vote. And so we know they're going to go 2-2. The votes come in. They go 3-3. And then the fourth vote is Kenzie. Fifth vote is Kenzie. Kenzie wins.
And, wow. I think Charlie was doing okay when... he was able to come back, congratulate her. The jury picked the right winner. You deserved it.
You're talking about what he says in the after show? Yeah.
Yeah. He said he's disappointed, and he squeezed all he could out of his experience, but he accepts the jury's decision. That was big, I thought, especially right in the moment. I think it's just really hard on the people that don't win to make them do that when they're reeling.
Yep, it is most hard on
really
the second,
hard.
Third place people.
They should at least give them 10 minutes to go off and, take a break and deal with it for a minute and a half. Jeez. But anyway, he's very big about that.
Maria says she voted for Kenzie because of the fire in Kenzie's eyes, and her story moved her. That's important, highlighting that Maria did not vote for Charlie.
Oh, you skipped way ahead somewhere.
No, this is in the beginning where they have that part. They circle back to this when he asked Charlie. So Maria says this early on.
Well, Probst was talking about remembering Kenzie's optimism and And she was talking about how she helped a lot of people, and Hugh missing his wife, and Tiffany with whatever she had going on, and they got to cry together, and that she's always tried to give back, and she was very glad that she did something for herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I like that Probst asked if anybody had changed their vote.
Yeah, that was good.
And you got to hear some of the rationale there.
I felt like Charlie's demeanor really changed once he saw that Maria did not vote for him, because, he was saying that he thought it was going to a tie because he really thought he might even recognize their handwriting. After all season, they might know people's handwritings.
Yeah.
And I think he expected to get Maria's vote. And then we find out later that she told him she would vote for him.
Right.
And I think that really hurt him.
Yeah, I could see why.
Well, yeah, not just the vote, but that,
they'd done all that, and then she
changed her
just,
mind,
and it just seemed to be sort of flippantly.
Yeah.
It might have been in spite of being voted out, potentially. Anyway, Hunter said Charlie won him over with his final tribal, and Q said Kenzie's story really caused him to change his vote. He was leaning towards Charlie, but Kenzie's story swung him to Kenzie, and Soda said that she was wrestling with it. Her heart wanted Kenzie, but her brain said Charlie had played the better game, and she ended up going with that. How would a fan look at it, she even said. And so I think there's probably going to be a lot of people who are disappointed that Charlie didn't win. We were both thinking that the more satisfying conclusion win would have been a Charlie win when we were talking about it before the finale.
Yeah, but I 100% think Kenzie deserved it. And I think both Charlie and Kenzie deserved to win. So
Kenzie's just yet another example in how significant the social elements can be.
Yes.
And you never know what flavor of a society that group is going to settle on, what things they're going to value, what's going to be significant, important to them, how they're going to evaluate each other's game, things like that. But social can have such a huge sway on things.
Especially with somebody like Kenzie, who's as giving naturally. That comes very naturally. It would be hard for her to withhold that. I know I've always been that way, and you can't hold that back. You just have that compassion for people and what they're going through, and you genuinely care. And it doesn't matter if it's somebody you don't even like. You don't want to see them in pain,
right?
And
that
I would
sincere,
do anything.
Yeah, the sincere reaction, as opposed to other seasons. We've seen people who weren't sincere try to pretend that they were doing that and in that role. Look at the rice I got for the tribe,
Well, and
Mom.
the people who are genuinely interested in other people. Some people really want to hear your story.
When Probst asked Charlie, there was a big pause, and you could see that despair in his face, I think, at that point.
He was deeply hurt.
Yeah.
I do.
And that's when he tells us he was surprised that Maria didn't vote, when she said that, when she had told him previously that he had her vote. And we didn't see any reaction from Maria. She didn't reach out. She didn't. There was no touch. There was no. She was back to the stone face thing again.
Well, with a planted smile, though.
She wasn't smiling when Charlie was saying some of those
things.
things.
Not right then, but anyway, I don't know what her reaction will be, but that will be her reaction. So
yeah.
She might think he was...
Charlie was ready, though. He said, look, the jury picks the right winner. I believe that.
Yes.
And he congratulated Kenzie and said he was proud of her. And he accepted it and was moving forward. Good stuff.
Right. And I think that showed, how mature he is. And he'll deal with his emotions later on, but I do think he will need to. And I'm pretty sure they'll need to talk at some point if he's able.
If he chooses to, that might be done. I wouldn't be surprised. The Maria went on a bit of a spiral towards the end, and as good as Kenzie is at managing the social game, Maria fumbled the social game pretty much in every facet right through to the end, it seems like right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be interesting to hear the exit interviews and get some more details from there. Probst goes to Ben and highlights the whole no vote thing and asks him how he feels about it. And Ben reiterated that he was good with his emotional approach to the game and that he ended up being able to make some big moves. And in the end, even though the game was really kicking his butt with low to no sleep and then the panic attacks, he didn't quit. He hung in. It was like every time he said, "I didn't quit," they would cut to showing Q's face. I like that.
Yeah.
And Charlie said, "You know what? Ben embodies what surviving means." I thought that was a really nice compliment he threw in there. And then Ben brought it back around and talked about how Carolyn had inspired him. So, boy, you talk about somebody who's going to be on season 50. I'm almost guaranteeing you that it's going to be Carolyn. And yeah, I think you mentioned it already. He talked about Kenzie's blind optimism and how that went for her. And they didn't have a flint. They didn't have fire. They actually broke a record for not having fire.
Yep.
And losing so much. And in spite of all that, she was able to uplift others. And she said being able to do that for them gave her strength. And she was proud and grateful. And yeah, she was being selfish for her, but it worked out.
Yeah, they brought up a lot of, fun things about the season. The humor and the music, the singing, the dancing.
The goofing of idols.
Yeah, and Ben thinking it was like going to summer camp. And Tevin singing and having fun, he and Soda. And
Venus gave a really clear explanation for why they all goof those idols. Compelled by greed and a game philosophy to play big. It is like I was saying, it's like playing Texas Hold'em and pushing in, all in every time. That was like their approach to the game. One more tribal, if I can, Tiffany said. Anyway.
And Tiffany talking about how she could just be her. It was a crazy season, and that you could get into arguments with people on your tribe and still work with them. Mm-hmm. And Liz said she played really hard. And then, of course, they had to bring up Jelinski and several again. And bring up that it's going to be 40 several next season.
Now, you and I argued a little bit when Charlie was saying that, part of the reason those idols didn't get played is we had just expert blindsides this season. And I think it's hard. I think the dum-dum plays trump people supposedly doing a good blindside.
I disagreed with you.
Right.
That I thought that the people in this season, a lot of them did some awesome acting, and they really sold it. Mm-hmm. They did.
But that doesn't matter.
It does matter.
It mattered.
Okay, we're arguing again. He's wrong. Y'all tell him he's wrong.
One example where it mattered was Hunter explained it, how much Kenzie influenced him to hold his idol.
Exactly.
That mattered with Kenzie. And Kenzie's your winner, and so I think that makes sense. But Q tried to get on that too, but Q said in his exit interviews, I'd already made up my mind. I was not playing it. I was holding on to it because that was going to get me to 4.
I don't believe what Q says.
Well, that's just an example. And Tiffany's was similar.
Maria wasn't
Venus's
acting.
Was similar.
The other people were acting to Maria. She bought it hook, line, and sinker. And she's the one that's, oh no, you don't have to worry about it.
But that doesn't. What I'm saying is all that's moot if Q says, look, I'm just holding on to it. I'm not going to play it because I need it for the next stage.
He didn't. I don't believe that.
Okay.
I believe he didn't play it because she said he didn't need it.
Then go to Tiffany.
If she just said, well,
Tiffany did the same kind of thing. I'm just going to hold on to it. Venus, same thing. I'm going to hold on to it because it'll be more powerful the next step.
Because everyone went out of their way to convince them that Q was 100% going home.
Again,
and she believed it.
Venus explained it perfect.
Okay, we're done.
They were compelled by greed.
And so we would like your thoughts on the topic.
Sure. Yep.
And the
Let's
feedback
kick that around
show
some
on
more.
Saturday. So let us know what you think about it.
Yeah, they spent a little bit of time talking about how rough the Beware Advantage timers were. And
what about the weight loss? Wow, Charlie lost 22 pounds, and he was thin to start with.
Right. Yeah, he didn't come out there heavy, did he?
14%. Liz lost 13%. Wow.
Yeah, they had fun, like you said, with some of the funny moments. And Prope celebrated Liz for a moment. She really enjoyed that, I think. You're unique. Surprised us. You played hard and intentionally. Yeah.
All right. So
47. Did you get anything out of the 47 previews?
there's not that much. We don't know who any of the people were or are, or so I didn't worry too much about that.
Yeah. It's maybe we'll have a good group. I don't know what to.
The forging stuff.
Yeah, it was very
going
forgy,
on,
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Cut to scenes of people working in a forge and carving, and then people talking about forging their
Players are going to leave their mark.
their own legacy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't they always?
But if they have them running through the forest in some challenges, I'm in for that. I think that'll be cool to do that again. We haven't seen that in a long time. I don't know if that's like the marooning challenge where they were doing that, but it looked like there might be a clip of them carrying big pieces racing through the forest with it.
Well, you let that imagination just run away as much as you want to all summer
Okay.
and enjoy it.
I didn't see anyone who stood out too much other than the Miss Delaware person who came off as more funny than I think she intended. But we'll see. After this season and this cast, I have no clue how to think about another one right now. These folks, the way they chose to play the game was so odd to me that...
Yeah, I don't care to until I meet them. Mm-hmm. You know, till we get any information on the new cast and that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, well, I don't know who they are, who's playing, or anything else, and so
Okay,
I can wait.
Won't ask you any more questions about it.
Yeah, okay. I don't have any answers,
So certainly we can be looking forward to that. How about a JSFL update? How did that end up?
I can do that. Congratulations to JaeAnn in Oregon for winning.
Nice. What was the
Yay.
score?
Oh, shoot. I forgot to write it down. I think it was like
You had one job.
127. Yeah, I had one job right.
Okay.
And you had none, so
JaeAnn.
why didn't you go there? But anyway. Okay, yeah, JaeAnn in Oregon. They can all
Nice.
go and look and see what the score is.
Okay, how about
I
the
believe
side
it's
challenge?
About 127. Congratulations goes to Jeremiah.
Boy, he gets to pick the song a lot, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
With 105 points.
Okay.
With 102 points, Rebecca. 85, Stacy. 84, Robert. 82, Chris. With 66, Lisa Ray. 63, Brandon. 62, Parker. 51, Drew. And in the bottom is Justin with 48 points.
A surprise run on the basement. Well, way to go, Justin.
We look forward to hearing Justin sing the song that Jeremiah's going to choose for him.
That's right. He's going to choose a song, and Justin will create a parody of that song based on the events of this wackadoodle season.
That's right. If you could have that to us, Jeremiah, by noon on Saturday, that would be great.
Yeah.
We'll announce the song you choose for Justin to use to write the parody for this season.
I think Justin forgot to get his picks in. That must have been what happened.
I don't know what happened. I didn't look.
We look forward to hearing the story behind that, Justin.
All right. Well, that's it. We're going to be wrapping up this season on
Almost
Saturday.
done. Yeah, almost done. We got one more step to go. We got a bow to tie on the season. That's your turn to give us your thoughts on the finale, the season as a whole, how it compares to the others. What do you, I mean, compare it to the new seasons, the new era in the 40s and the previous ones. Where do you think this one fits? And what did you make of the performance that we got of the final five in the finale? Looking forward to hearing your thoughts about that. The voicemail lines 206-350-1547. Toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your own audio and send it to us at JaeAnn and stacyshow@gmail.com. Or if you're not comfortable doing the whole voice thing, you can send it as an email to that same email address, and either JaeAnn or I will read it into the listener feedback show on your behalf. We had fantastic listener feedback shows all season long. This season has
So much more fun.
has flummoxed some. I certainly wasn't sure what to make of it. And there was like the early part of it that was rocky, and then it got more interesting. And then we had this string of idols in pockets. It's just, what a season. Different approach. You had a group of people who couldn't manage an alliance at all. So, of any size, the duos did well. Charlie and...
That's not the new age way.
Charlie was the key to a successful alliance, wasn't he? Charlie and Maria, Charlie and Ben. Charlie and Ben had the longest running alliance of the season, as it turns out. Anyway, we look forward to hearing your thoughts. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturday. We ask you keep it in that 3-minute range. And we're looking forward to hearing your thoughts about this season. Anything you picked up on season 47 you want to mention too? Anything else?
I believe that covers it.
Have a good one.